According to the Veterans Association, there are nearly 17.6 million veterans currently living in the U.S. And for a look at what challenges veterans have in 2025, we're going to Ron Glasgow, who is a certified financial planner, but he also served in the Marine Corps. And he's been kind of an advocate for veterans for some time now. And today is the 250th birthday of the Marine Corps. So, hey, thanks for joining us today.
No problem. Thank you very much for having me.
Tell us about what made you want to join the Marines. Take us back. Tell us about that story.
Yeah. So this is a fairly funny one. So I was always pretty good at school, and without bragging, I knew college wasn't going to be much of an issue. And I played sports. I was mediocre on my best day. It's kind of a nice way to say I wasn't very good. And, there's this thing missing. I wanted to be comfortable. And so at 17 years old, I was 6'1", 135 pounds with huge Coke bottle glasses. And I joined the Marine Corps Infantry, the world's most impressive fighting force. I joined with that stature. There were some hard times there early on, but, I think it out. Today, I'm 6'3", 230, so it all worked out in the end. And man, I wouldn't trade that service for anything. But the one thing I always say, it's the guys that went downrange that matter. I was infantry, I served, but I did not deploy. The guys that went downrange are the ones that deserve our respect. Man, I just kind of kept the seat warm for a little while.
Tell us about, let's talk about this. What are some of the challenges that actually tomorrow's Veterans Day, right? And the one thing I wanted to get out right in front is, what is the proper greeting for Veterans Day? Some people go out and they say Happy Veterans Day, but that's not exactly the sentiment is nice, but that's not the way to go about it.
Yeah, I hate to say it, man, but the Jarheads, we celebrate the Marine Corps birthday today so hard. Where tomorrow we just kind of in a zombie land trance from today.
That kind of hangover, is that what that is?
We it tends to be in our nature. But no, just say Happy Veterans Day, and man, no veteran I know cares what you say. Everyone just appreciates your sentiment. And if you appreciate that sacrifice, that's all they care about. The one thing I will say, anybody from the Vietnam era, go out of your way, make them feel extra special, because we did them a huge disservice as a nation.
So explain
Did you want to follow up on that?
Yeah, for people who don't know or don't have vets, what disservice?
Yeah, well, that's how I know I'm becoming the old guy, right? When you got to explain these things.
By the way, we're looking at him. He's so baby faced. This guy is just incredible.
Well, I'm staring down 50. So in my era, from the time I signed up, even from the time he was said I was going to boot camp, everybody started saying thank you for your service. There was this level of appreciation. Post 9/11, it really took off to the point where sometimes I'm embarrassed about it because I didn't deploy. It could not be more opposite for our Vietnam veterans. When they came home, they were literally spit on at the airports. People called them baby killer. People threw things at them. They threw rotten tomatoes. They threw eggs. They treated these people like second-class civilians. They treated these people like criminals. And all they did was they went and they did an almost impossible job based off the elected officials that those people that were spitting and throwing things at them elected. So the disservice, you can hear to my voice, it's palpable. It's something that the nation can never truly remedy. But on an individual basis, try to do the best you can. Just tell those guys welcome home.
Ron Glasgow is an advocate for veterans. He joins us on 710 KURV, part of Glasgow Investment Solutions, but he also served in the Marine Corps. So these days, I know some things have stayed the same, stayed constant for our veterans, unfortunately, when it comes to homelessness or the health care that they get. I mean, I've heard 1,000 times the state of the VA system and what have you. What would you say are the big three right now?
Yeah, so homelessness is a problem. A part of it, we got to really address this from a realistic standpoint. However, some of these veterans are hooked on drugs. Some of them truly have mental disorders, and that's not just veterans. That's part of the greater population. Those are very difficult to handle. Some of them, however, just need that leg up. And I know this for a fact, because I've seen some of them in Veterans Court where I'm a mentor. Some of them just need that hand up. And the fact that there are veterans out there that are looking for help or need help and it's not getting it is criminal, in my opinion. At the end of the day, though, we do have a tendency, maybe, it never overblow it because you can't help those people enough. There's 33,000 veterans, homeless veterans, 17.5 million veterans. The percentages aren't that huge. So sometimes the guys in the middle get neglected. Just the hardworking men and women in the U.S. get neglected a little bit. And the VA is one of those areas where it really is. One thing I do want to say about the VA system is virtually everybody that I've seen that works at the VA, and I've been going to VA for my Medicare partially since 1997. Everybody cares. I mean, these people really, really care. Again, it's our elected officials. They had their head in the sand because it wasn't going to get votes to talk about beefing up the VA while the war was going on. I've been in that system since 97, and I saw it go from really, really good, at least the care I got then, until 20 years later, the system is flooded. It's overflowing. They do what they can, but they didn't beef up the system after 20 years of war. And now it's the veterans and the guys that went downrange are paying the price. It's awful.
Davis, your question. Go ahead.
My belief, perhaps wrongly, is that a lot of veterans who do deploy, as you say, and see action, come back troubled. And we don't think of that in the World War II era, but I suspect it was the same for them. But we just didn't talk about it. But
everybody kind of dealt with it differently. I heard stories that some people just didn't want to talk about it, and then some people were like really, really open about it.
Yeah, there was a woman whose husband was in World War II. And he wouldn't go to a war movie after, he wouldn't go, or he'd walk out. Is there a big epidemic of this that now they're looking at psychedelics to help people deal with the real trauma of being in combat? What do you think about that?
It's a huge epidemic. If you look at my wife's grandfather, he's a true war hero. He was Army Airborne. He was in Korea. He made Master Sergeant in 5 years. If you don't know what that means, it's unheard of. Now, a lot of guys had to die, but he was a pretty squared away soldier to get those field promotions. And we got a Bronze Star because he commandeered a tank and pinned and saved some guys that were pinned down. True hero. When he came home, he struggled. He had a drinking problem like a lot of veterans do, had trouble holding a job. His family holds him in the highest regard, and he's a true American hero, but he never could cope, and he sure as heck wasn't going to complain about it from that generation. So today, I think, is kind of split into two camps. There are an awful lot of guys that need help, and they're willing to talk about it a little bit more. Still sometimes looked at as shameful in the community, not by us to look at them and think it's shameful, but by the individual to say, I need help. You can see they sometimes have that shame they don't want to ask. And that's what leads to the suicides. This is documented, 22 a day. I just wear the ring last night at the Marine Corps ball, 22 kill. 22 veterans a day commit suicide. Those stats fluctuate a little bit, but that's about what they still are. It hasn't really changed since the war ended.
Ron Glasgow is an advocate for veterans, joining us on 710 KURV. Today is the 250th birthday of the Marine Corps. And with that in mind, I'm sure over the years, I don't know if you can tell us the history. What is it like transitioning back to civilian life after being a part of that lifestyle for so long? And I know there's been some proposals too where, go ahead.
No, it's, I did one hitch right after high school. I was infantry, but I never deployed. But look, you take a 17, 18-year-old kid, and for 3 or 4 or 5 years straight, all you do is train them how to kill other people. And make no mistake, that's what the Marines do. Your only job as a Marine is to kill the enemy or die trying. Anything else is fluff. That's what, especially in the infantry, that's what you do.
They still call y'all bullet stoppers?
Yeah, yes, sir. And when I got out and I started college on terminal leave, it was rough. I mean, literally, I'm carrying a machine gun, and 2 weeks later, I'm at college, and this is 1997. They were saying that, go check your email. And I'm like, what the heck is email, right? So I finally find a kid I went to high school with. I said, Nathan, what is this email thing everybody's talking about? He's like, he's like, sit down, man. Let me get you going. Literally, I still have the same Hotmail account he set up, and he set up my school email. So those are kind of some of the little funny things. But emotionally, it's very hard. I'm not ashamed to say it. The hardest I've ever cried in my life, I think, was driving through that gate, knowing it would be the last time out, because I knew I was never going to be part of that camaraderie again. That's how strong it is. And then it's not. I'm very fortunate that some of my best friends are Marines, and they're lifelong friends. They always have lived close. And now here in Rockwall, Texas, where I live, I think there are more veterans per capita in Rockwall County, Texas, than any other county in Texas. So this is veteran Mecca. There are more Marines than any other branch. It's crazy.
We got a lot of vets down here in South Texas.
Texas, man, Texas. The thing about living in Texas, and I'm not a Texan. I moved here 8 years ago. You can't drive more than 2 or 3 miles without passing a hero. Some people never meet one. I'm surrounded by them. And even as a 49-year-old man, I get to learn and grow and have my character hopefully improved because I'm surrounded by men of the highest character, the highest quality. And that's one of the beauties of living in Texas, man.
And you have such I'm actually jealous of this very energetic, optimistic outlook on life that you seem to have since we spoke earlier today. I'm like, how do I get some of that?
Man, I'm at my first year in business again, so trust me, this is my camera face. There's an awful lot of Marine Corps yelling and cussing behind the scenes.
Well, you can't do that on the radio.
In radio, we do that too, and that's behind the scenes.
I've slipped almost once on this conversation, but I've held it in. But man, I get asked about my service a lot, and the one thing I'll say, the absolute number one thing that I got for the Marine Corps has really proven itself out this year is Mike and Ike. And I say it like that to be funny, but it's just like those goofy little candies. Man, when life gets tough, Mike and Ike is all that matters, putting one foot in front of the other. And this is a tough year. I started my business from scratch. That always has its challenges, although it's going extremely well. I mean, that's another testament to Texas and the business culture here. But I lost my mom unexpectedly in June, and a few weeks later, I lost my sister completely unexpectedly. So when you're going through something like that, there are days you just don't want to get out of bed. You just don't. You got to get up, turn on your computer, check your email, do something, go take a walk if you got to, pray. But you got to put one foot in front of the other and do something. And sooner or later, that'll even out. It really will.
How did you, we're short on time, Davey, but I wanted to ask Mr. Glasgow, how did you transition from being in the Marines and your life pathway to becoming a certified financial planner at Glasgow Investment Solutions?
Yeah, we're short on time. There's a hilarious longer story to this. I'll give you the shorter one. Literally, you major in finance in college, and I was always pretty good at school. College wasn't a problem, but I had no ideas what jobs were available. So I left my resume on a desk at a job fair. Gentleman from A.G. Edwards, a big investment firm at the time, they're now defunct. He called me because of my Marine Corps service, no doubt. I think I beat out a few candidates, and I ended up on a municipal bond. Ended up as a municipal bond traders liaison, sitting at a trading desk for 10 hours a day. Anybody that knows me, it knows I can't sit still for 10 minutes, let alone 10 hours a day. But I did see what was in the industry, and because of that, I saw what financial advisors do. I applied with that firm and a crosstown rival. The crosstown rival gave me the offer, and I spent 10 years as a financial advisor before transitioning into private equity, and couldn't wait to get back to being a financial advisor this year.
Hey, well, thanks for spending some time with us today. Thank you very much for your service as well. That's Ron Glasgow at GlasgowInvestments.com, certified financial planner, joining us on 710 KURV.